and Water Conservation Manager at the U.S. EPA right here in Research Triangle Park. Please welcome to the stage, Matthew Pait.
Hi, thanks for participating today, everyone. What does it mean to be a good Earth human? Or better yet, what can we do as humans in our daily lives to quantify these efforts to be good Earth humans? Click its head. Net zero energy, net zero water, net zero waste, and a strong ecological footprint. Now, these are quantified goals that I came up with myself, so just to be clear, these do not necessarily represent the opinion of my agency. Disclaimer complete. But these are personal goals that I've set in my daily life, and I'd love to tell you about them. So here's a definition right from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency website about net zero energy, water, and waste. And basically what they mean is we should renewably power all of our energy needs. We should gather rainwater to offset all of the potable water needs within our lives, and we should send zero waste to the landfill. So jumping right in, net zero energy. I like to divide this up into 3 steps. The first step is implement energy conservation measures everywhere we can find them. All right, we've got a few examples here. Replacing your windows, new insulation, learning thermostats, and LED light bulbs. These are of varying difficulty, but the LED light bulb one's really easy. These have less than a 1-year payback now. They're very easy to install. Step 2, electrify your life. This means taking all the fossil fuel burning equipment out of our homes and our lives and converting them to electrical alternatives. So this means taking your gas-powered furnace, gas-powered hot water heater, stovetops. Anybody seen one of those in a while? And your vehicles. That's actually my vehicle parked at a gas station. I'm inside probably getting some tots right after this. But convert these all to electricity. If anybody's felt the pain of the gas pump recently, we pay 11 cents per kilowatt hour for electricity at home to charge our vehicles. That's basically the equivalent of 80 cents per gallon of gas. Even if that price doubles, that's still pretty good compared to what we're paying at the gas pump right now. Step 3, once we've reeled in that energy consumption and electrified all of our equipment, now we power that remaining electric load with renewable energy and then add an applicable energy storage system so that we're not pulling energy in from the supposed dirty grid at night or during low power generation periods or during power outages. That's actually a picture of my rooftop right there. So this is a table directly from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's website. Basically details different energy sources we have available to us. Effectively, the further right it is on the chart, the better and cleaner it is. The entire idea here is we should be very cognizant as humans of where we're getting our energy from. Where is our energy source? And we need to be making better decisions about the environmental friendliness of our energy sources. Jumping into net zero water. These 2 very detailed illustrations you can find at the Department of Energy website. Look up net zero water building. I recommend everybody go check both of these scenarios out. They take rainwater into our building, and then we can either use the potable water from the city to offset part of our consumption, and then the rainwater is used for the other sources, or we can convert that rainwater into potable water and then use that as drinking water and then offset all of our potable water consumption from the city. The idea here is to minimize the pulling from water from our local aquifers. So here are a few examples of water conservation measures we can implement within our lives, in our households, to achieve net zero water. Dual flush toilets, rain barrels, low flush faucets, and low flow shower heads. I love these low flow shower heads. I actually installed numerous ones. 5 minutes a piece. I think they were less than $5. We did a calculation. We're saving 2,000 gallons of water every single year per person in the household just from that unit. That's less than a 1-year payback. Net zero waste. Basically, this means we shouldn't be sending waste to the landfill. But there are a few caveats in here. If we are sending all of our food and compostable waste into a compost stream, and then instead of throwing plastics and other single-use waste into the landfill bin, we're now beginning to fill up our recycle bin. And if we fill the recycle bin, everything in that recycle bin still has to go to a facility to consume energy and water to be made into a new product, which will actually, into a recycled product usable for human use again. This really boils down to consumption. I've heard consumption mentioned a few times today, and that's the whole point of this conversation. When we shop for food, try to shop for food with 0 packaging on it and use a reusable shopping bag while we're at it. That is a direct impact right there. A little bit on batteries while we're talking about waste. I'm an electric vehicle owner. I drove my Nissan Leaf here today, 2013, Generation 1. It's got a 30-mile range. I'm up for a battery replacement pretty soon, and I want to make sure that battery does not go to the landfill. Only 5% of the world's lithium-ion batteries are actually recycled at this point. That's wholly unacceptable. There's a lot of technology innovation right now to try to make that recycling stream a little bit more whole. But in our homes, we can do something direct right now. If you're using single-use batteries, then please stop that right now. Go find a recyclable option, something that has 200 to 300 recharge cycles available, and that's 200 less batteries you have to purchase. That's 200 less battery packages that go into the waste stream. That's 200 less batteries that end up in the landfill in the first place. Got a lot of work to do on this, but we can start making our headway right now. So to achieve a strong ecological footprint, I mean, it's a cheesy name, but I came up with something that had to be quantifiable. We can maximize and minimize. Maximize good practices, such as pollinator-friendly habitats, xeriscaping of our lawns, organic gardening and farming on our sites, and purchasing of local produce. If we do that, then a farmer doesn't have to travel as far, burn fuel to get that food to you. And then we should also be building our homes and our buildings in ways that are actually beneficial to the local habitat, the local ecosystems, so that like bird-friendly windows and not, minimizing runoff. Similarly, we should minimize bad practices, such as chemical applications. That needs to be 0%. Large-scale tree cutting. When we cut down trees to build a home, we only need to cut out as many trees as we actually need to build the vehicle. No mass grading of large sites anymore. Turf installations, fence installations. Minimize all of these things. So what's the common theme with all of these? Consumption. We're consuming too much. Humans consume entirely too many things. Why are we buying all of these things? Most of it's useless. Let's get out and enjoy this earth that gives us a little bit more life each year. And then we can make each of these other principles a little bit more quantifiable and achievable on our own behalf. So the idea here, we want to be better earth humans. Let's treat this earth today like we want it to be tomorrow, because every action we have and we take today on today's earth will affect tomorrow's earth. And if anybody's a parent in the room, you know the importance of that. So let's be good earth humans. Happy Earth Day, everyone. Thank you.
All right, if you've got questions about consumption. I thought the consumption killed people in Jane Austen novels. I don't know. All right, first question coming right here.
Yeah, you talked a lot about consumption, and I'm a little curious. Sometimes you go out and there's not an availability to choose from, to choose like the better option. All of the options would, go straight to landfill. They wouldn't get recycled. So how, as consumers, can we voice up to the product makers that, we would like a better product when there isn't, voting with our dollar to the better product?
Is there a particular product you're referring to, or just products in general?
I mean, any makeup ever.
Really, I mean, I would like to reel this back into a consumption issue. If there are packaging options, or if there's food options with zero packaging, I mean, if you just don't have this option, honestly, I've written sheets and asked them to install an electric vehicle charging station near my work. They didn't do anything about it. But if 100 of us do that, then that demand begins to increase. Write these companies. Tell them what the demand is. If they don't know that you're talking about it on your own, then you'll never talk to them in person. So we need to demand in public. Get loud about it.
Ah, yes, the Alice's Restaurant strategy. All right, next question over here.
I have a tip for the last question. One thing I do is if I go to a grocery store and I don't bring my recyclable bags, I just take my groceries out to my car and package them right there with my bags that I keep in my car. My question is about wind power. I had the first wind-powered house in North Carolina back in '99, and I was frustrated that the weight counter inspector had never done a house like that before. And North Carolina is lucky because we have tons of wind power available in both our mountains on the west and our coast on the east. But unlike many other countries, the U.S. frowns on wind power because it doesn't look good. What is the EPA or anyone in the government trying to change that such that the U.S. can start utilizing more wind power like the rest of the world does, because wind power is such a small portion of the amount of energy produced in this country.
Sure. I'm actually really glad. Thank you very much for bringing up wind power in North Carolina, because this low-speed wind power still exists in our state. I don't know if anyone's ever heard the term blade cut-in speed. Those large 1-2 megawatt wind turbines you might see in Midwestern states, they have a blade cut-in speed. You break the friction to actually get the blade moving, and it's typically like 8 or 9 miles per hour. Well, in North Carolina, we might average half that. So if you have a blade cut-in speed down in the 1 to 1.5 mile per hour range, these blades actually begin moving, and you can generate at a lower wind speed. Low-speed wind technologies are still I'll still call it an incubatory phase, because there aren't many models out there that are affordable to, let's even say, like a medium-sized business or even a public facility at this point. But that is actively changing. I'm honestly, a couple home projects, I'm trying to build a wind turbine with a bicycle wheel and some flashing right now. And let's speak about recyclability of these products too. Most large-scale wind turbine blades aren't recyclable. They're going to end up in the landfill, and that's another huge issue right now. If we can not downcycle but recycle them into more appropriate materials, then that's going to be another issue we're going to have to overcome with that as well. So I'm not going to speak anything policy related at the federal government level, but the outreach campaign needs to occur in this very state to show that low-speed wind is an applicable option, not just solar as well. Thank you.
All right, we actually have a question coming in from social media. Maria is watching on our Facebook live stream and asks if you can compare the amount of fuel spent to produce the electricity that charges an electric car versus the direct fuel consumption of just putting that fuel directly in your building. Because the fuel's got to come from somewhere to generate the electricity. What is the trade-off there?
Sure. Electric vehicles are known to be quite a bit more efficient than internal combustion engines or fossil fuel generating equipment. So if you have a gas power plant down the road, that gas might be more inexpensive than a kilowatt hour at your home that you generate on your roof. But there's an environmental cost to that too. And we do see the downstream effect in the heat islands that were discussed earlier. You know, this entire conversation is about fossil fuel offsetting. And that 11 cents per kilowatt hour that we pay at home to charge our vehicles, as soon as we add a renewable power system to our home, that cost drops even further. So if we consider it expensive, I think California, I was in Seattle last month, it was like 35 cents per kilowatt hour for a residential rate, which is triple what we pay here. But even at that rate, that's still 250 gallon of gas. So if we add renewable energy to offset what we might consider to be a high electrical rate, then that rate just continues to drop, and at some point we will cross what it costs to pull in the energy from the utility grid.
Excellent. I hope you enjoy that, Maria. All right, we've got a question, I believe, right up here front.
You strike me as just the guy to provide a definitive answer to this vexing conundrum. I'm in a public restroom, electric hand dryer or paper towel?
I mean, I'm going to give the latter answer every time. Electrify everything, absolutely. We definitely, I mean, the products that machine right there needs to be 100% recyclable. We need to make sure that all of the components within there can be properly recycled. And if, you know, paper towels consume energy and water just to create them. If you get a white paper towel, then it was bleached on top of that, which consumes more chemicals, energy, and water. I just don't really see the need for a paper towel anymore. I'm not even going to try to fake like that. That would be a good option ever. If you can renewably power the electricity in your building and then use that electricity to power the faucets and then the hand dryers, then we're not touching surfaces, and we've renewably powered that entire process.
All right, I think we got time for one more question coming from right here in the center aisle. Our final question on sustainability for today.
Okay, so I went on a road trip last summer and I traveled to many places. And when I went to Alabama, I noticed that the recycling was once a month. And other places, like in Tennessee, my uncle had to drive probably like 10 minutes to recycle. And I'm wondering, do you think that's an incentive for people to consume less by having it less available to recycle? Or do you think having a recycling bin weekly is a better option or more sustainable?
Sure. I think this is one of those happy medium opportunities. First, you have to have kind of a champion group. You know, if you send the truck around every single week and that truck's only filling up 10% of itself, then we're consuming a lot more fuel to get the truck around town. I've heard people tell me that they do not recycle because they believe that the municipality just throws it in the landfill bin anyway. So there needs to be some data within the public infrastructure to know how much these recycling methods are actually producing in their waste stream. So if you're filling the truck up all the way, maybe that's another opportunity. Double it up. This all has to be driven by data from the public level because the taxpayer is going to pay for all of this.
All right, give it up for Matthew Pait.